let it drop.
Every time that goes on, it's always going to get me hyped. So welcome to Good Talks with Bad Moms, everyone. Second episode. It's Wednesday. And I thank you so much for joining the live. If you haven't yet, that's fine. You're about to come onto the stage with me. Because today I want you guys to be interactive if you can, if you feel like it. I do want to have a conversation with the audience and with the topics that I'm going to discuss today. And, you know, if you have something that you want to say, we can even make it so you could call in, but maybe not today's episode. But keep that in mind because I do want to have this interactive audience, I guess, with you guys. Yeah. So today's topic, before I start, I wanted to say I was driving by the freeway and I saw a guy hunched over by the freeway somewhere, actually at the exit. And then I'm like, oh, great. Like another guy doing drugs by the freeway, off ramp, this and that. And then like after he like straightened up, I saw that he was sewing something. And I was like, oh my God, I totally misjudged this guy. I thought he was doing drugs or heroin, but he was sewing something. Like I felt so bad. And then within that time frame, he put whatever he was sewing down and he picked up his pipe and started smoking crack. So I wasn't too far off. So, I mean, just wanted to share that story with you so we can have like rapport and, you know, yes. So I felt bad when I thought that man was doing drugs, when he was hunched over sewing. But then when he took a hit of the crack pipe, I was like, no, I was right the whole time. So how do you know when you're misjudging something? Or how do you know when you're not supposed to be judging? And what is this idea of not passing judgment anyway? Because if we don't have that ability to pass judgment, because judgment doesn't necessarily have to be an opinion. Judgment can be a statement of fact. So when I was looking at that man and I thought he was doing drugs, I was not wrong, but I was not wrong. I was wrong at the time, but I wasn't wrong about what judgment I made about him. So I want to talk about the idea of judging people and being judged and how this ultimately plays into the under the umbrella of good and evil, because we got told for so long, don't pass judgment. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge this. Don't judge that. Oh, you're being judgy. Oh, you're being opinionated. They told us so much. The PSYOP. See the PSYOP? Now it's all unraveling because we even know what the word PSYOP means collectively. But do you see how the PSYOP got into play all those years ago when they told us, hey, be politically correct. Hey, don't judge anyone. Hey, accept. And then we accepted our way into a corner. All right? And what do I mean by that? Accepted our way into a corner. We didn't say anything that we thought was wrong because we were afraid of being called judgy and judgmental. And so we allowed things that we knew to not be right to pass through because we didn't want to be labeled again. Which is ironic because, you know, they're telling us not to judge so we don't label them. Meanwhile, we're afraid of being labeled and being called judgy. So it's this mind warp. Do you understand? So that's where we went wrong as a people, when we stopped making good judgment. All right? Because we stopped judging. For example, when I was in 2019, all right, I was super liberal. As a matter of fact, I came to God in 2022, not too long ago. Like I barely came to the understanding that I was partaking in something evil before I understood who God is in my life. And the evil thing that I was partaking in was I was saying I don't believe in God. And if I don't believe in God, I don't believe in a lot of other things. But what was interesting about me is that I have a strong moral compass that is actually guided by God, which obviously I didn't know that. I just thought I was a good human being because like I have a strong moral compass. But no, it was whether I knew it or not, it was God the whole time. because just because I denied God doesn't mean that God had denied me. And so God was guiding me, even though I was unaware to it. Which, by the way, in my opinion, well, not about. I don't even think it's an opinion, but I believe unawareness is should be a cardinal sin as well, because unawareness leads you astray, and then when you're unaware for so long and you're so far in deep that when you actually come to and you're not accountable, you decide to stay in where you found yourself when you woke up, where you woke up, because you just can't, you don't have the accountability to like rewind and backtrack and just undo all the years of learning that you've done about life, about anything in general, life. Everything you knew about life to be true was not, because you were unaware. And unawareness leads people to so many different problems in their lives. For example, parenting, because we are bad moms after all. So let's talk about parenting. When you're an unaware parent, what you do to your child during the time that you are raising them is you instill so much confusion in them, because what you're doing and what you're saying might not match, and you're unaware to that. But your child, who is just because they're young doesn't mean they're stupid. They're going to process everything, and they're going to not trust you or hold you, to a higher authority, because everything that you're doing and saying is contrasting. And then eventually you hold them down long enough, your kids, they'll start believing that that's how it is to be an adult. So they behave like you tomorrow as an adult. And so when they're behaving like you, another unaware adult, what are you doing? How are you helping society with your investment of your child? Okay, so if your child is growing up to be an unaware and adult, then you've not done your job as a parent collectively, because we can't just live for ourselves, everyone. That's another form of unawareness. We can't just live for ourselves when we live amongst each other. And so we have to be able to change, be accountable to that change, make sure that we learn ourselves, and that what we're implementing into our children, they also are perfecting what we are teaching them, because we're all coming from flawed places. And so, like even just being here on tonight's podcast, like my daughter's screaming in the hallway. She wants food. And I'm just like, right now, I got to get through this process of delivering the message, but I'm getting distracted. And I'm thinking to myself, am I being unaware to her? But am I being selfish? Am I not doing the right thing as a parent by, doing what I want to do right now? And I'm just thinking out loud, of course. This is a conversation I'm having out loud with myself in front of you. It makes you question your parenthood, but at the same time, if you're not questioning your parenthood, then are you ever evolving as a parent? Are you, so am I going to be more aware of how to pack for her tomorrow when I come next week? Or am I going to find a different place for her to stay? But my point is, I'm going through the process of judging myself as a parent so that I can be a better parent. And so when you judge yourself, it's okay. You can judge yourself and be critical and be constructive at the same time. So that way you evolve as a being, and that way you teach your children how to evolve as well. And, maybe this is good for her. Maybe 20 minutes of away from mom is probably in the long run good for her, because then I don't want her to be too dependent on me. And what if, tomorrow I need to go somewhere, girl? Chill out. I can hear her through the hallway. Oh my God. She's not even that hungry. Relax. She had one boob. She wants both boobs. Are we live on Instagram, by the way? Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh. All right. Wait, sorry. I was trying to go on to the... That's not it. Anyway, I opened up the Instagram and it said, I'm proud to be an American. I think I've never been more proud to be an American than I am at this point, But at the same time, What does it mean to be an American? Like we asked everyone, what does it mean to be a woman? What's a woman? But what is an American? Okay, and I feel like an American, and it doesn't have to necessarily be about the flag or anything, but it's a mentality. It's a way of life that we adopted, especially as immigrants coming into America. And this is, I'm tying it into the judgment thing. Hold on, give me a second. So we came in as migrants, immigrants into America, and we didn't come for the flag. Especially me, I was 6 years old. I didn't know where I was going. My parents were taking us, but they had an idea that it was for better life. And by better, I guess they meant like what, more financially free? Because I can't imagine what that would mean. Like, oh, better life, financial freedom. Maybe because when we came here, I didn't really experience having a lack of things. So my parents did really well, and we did really well, and I'm doing well now as far as like taking care of my family and being in a home and having cars and being an American in America and taking advantage of all the freedoms that we have. But I'm more proud now to be an American when everything's going down the shitter, because I want to be here to help save America. I want to save America with my contributions to America, and that's to enlighten and awaken everyone to the things that are happening around us and the solutions that we have already. Okay, like we already have solutions to fix problems in America because we love being American. And if we love being American, if we love taking advantage of all the resources here, and if we love, just being here and everything about being with each other and being free, being able to be on a podcast that where else in the world would I have been able to like come across this so freely? Definitely not, I guess, third world countries, even though we might be a third world country at this point. But if we want to save America, we have to exercise what America is about, and that's freedom. Okay? And so I want to say that our freedom to speak, our freedom to do will help us keep America great. Okay? It's not the best, but it is a great country. And make America great again. When he said that, I mean, I don't even understand what the problem is. Like, how can we not understand that that means something so good? Make America great again. Yeah, it's going to come to a point where you're going to judge America for all the bad things that we're part of. But for the people, we definitely have the ability to make it great. And if we're not exercising it, then how are we ever going to make it great? What does that even mean? Again, what does it mean to be great when we're not even exercising our freedoms? And what does that mean, exercising your freedom? That means being able to fly your American flag without worry, because now it's apparently a hate speech if you're flying your American flag. It means to vote, because if you don't vote, then what other data do we have to go based off of? You see what's happening. Like, majority of people aren't voting. And so what's happening? This is the result. This is your America today because you decided not to vote, because you're making a judgment call about what the system is about. Okay, so it's not perfect, you guys. Where in the world is it perfect? But if we don't exercise our freedoms, then we have no way to talk about what we can do differently. Like, if we keep not voting, then we're never going to know that voting could have solved things. If we all vote and we see that, no, it's still some shit, then we act like, where is it? Venezuela? Is it Venezuela right now? Yeah, Venezuela. Then we act like the folk in Venezuela, and we hope that the servicemen of the country, such as the Army and Marines and police departments and everyone who's bound by contract with the government to protect and serve the citizens, we hope that you actually then stand with us. It's not like a war cry or anything. I'm just saying that if the voting don't work, then we take other measures. We can't just keep like lapping up the slop they give us and then, oh, nothing's working, nothing's changing. Well, yeah, because you just keep eating the slop and you keep sending your kids to the indoctrination camps, and you don't partake in any of the politics. You don't know who your local candidates or councilmen are. You have no idea what's going on. You don't come to a school board meeting. Yeah, and you're not even about God either. That's the funny thing. Like, you're not doing none of those things, and then you're not even about God either. Because if you were about God, you would do at least some of those things. Because we as people govern ourselves, and government is supposed to help us govern ourselves. It's not supposed to take over us. I know I'm probably going off on tangents here because the screaming baby outside is distracting the heck out of me, but everything I'm saying is valid and true, and everything I'm saying can be applied to you in your life. And I don't have to go into deep dives and details about everything I'm saying, because it's so easy for you to like have a thought spark, or me plant a seed in your head about something, and you go and you do it, right? You go and you do the thing, learn, Google, read, partake, ask me some more questions. Conspiracy theories, right? Like, everybody was talking about conspiracy theories, but they're not theories, they're actualities, and people were discussing these things as truth, and you didn't want to believe it, so you called them a conspiracy theorist. And so now try to unlearn these things. They're not conspiracy theories, they are actual events that have occurred that we have not been given answers to. And so learn, expand your mind. Expand your mind about what? About parenting. Expand your mind about what? About politics. You know what you're doing wrong. So under the umbrella of good and evil, you know what you're doing wrong. You know what you're doing is not good. So if it's not good, then you can't say it's bad, it's evil. And like, why can't we just be black and white about it, right? Like, good and evil is black and white. You know when it's wrong. And so when you know it's wrong, and you continue to perpetuate this behavior, then we're never going to get fixed. We're never going to get healthy. We're going to be an ill society. What does that mean? Okay, for example, this is a touchy subject, but it's my life and it's my lifestyle, and I want to share with you. I thoroughly believe in a household with a woman and a man governing over their children, a mother and a father governing over their children. And I'm not talking about just the titles of mother and father. I'm talking about a healthy woman and a healthy man being a mother and a father, respectively, and raising their children in a household that is under God. Okay? This is the first step that you can do for your family. Men, if you're listening to this and you're, teeter-tattering, is that a word? If you're seesawing between God and no God, like, I assure you, learn about God. Take him into your life and let him guide you, govern you, so that way you can then guide your family. And it's not a matter of the wife being submissive to you. The wife is being submissive to you because of God. If you're not having a submissive wife, is because you probably don't have a relationship with God. If you're having problems with your wife, it's because you don't know how to have a relationship with God. And so she sees that, and so she doesn't want to have anything to do with it, because why should she listen to somebody who doesn't even know God? And so for your family to work, for your family to be in the right path of things, as a man, and I'm not a man, but as a man, I would look to God, and I would require my family to follow through with me. Some of you don't go to church. Like I said, I was an atheist for so long. I didn't even go to church when I wasn't even an atheist. But going to church, actually, that community you build with people, that helps you become more solidified in your belief in God, and that helps you direct your family as well. Like, hey, would God want us to be this way? What would God want for our family? And that's usually for us to be loyal to him, to serve him, and to serve each other, honestly, to serve each other under God. I mean, even in our country, even it says one nation under God. I know it doesn't specify which God they're talking about, but if it doesn't specify which God, then I'm going to say the God that we all believe to be the God. I don't even want to say the Christian God, because it wasn't like he was always God before it was labeled Christianity. So God, all right? And not and not the gods of the others. Just because they worship someone or something as a god, that doesn't make them the god. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Satan, bye bye now. We're not talking about you. We're talking about who you were so jealous of. And like, I feel like I'm the perfect person to discuss God because of my atheism. Because I've been to the dark side. I've been to the abyss. I've been to the part where it's like, oh, there's no such thing. And then when you come to an understanding that, hey, there's no explanation for this anymore, because atheism doesn't offer explanation. Atheism offers nothing. Atheism offers you different paths atheism offers you different paths to God. He's so funny. He's like, hey, you're too far from the mic. Atheism offers you different paths away from God. It gives you every explanation you can think of except for the true one, which is it's all what God wants us to do, and that's to be following his will. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that, because I just know that I'm living my life according to God's will. Like, my heart feels open. I feel complete. I feel full. I just had a baby at 40. I feel like, who's that? Who's Abraham's wife? She was like 1,000 years old and she had a baby. And yeah, I've had an abortion before. It's the saddest thing in the world. It's probably the worst experience for a woman. And to me, when I was having a conversation with those women in the waiting room at the abortion clinic, and I'm talking about it so like matter of factly because I have to. I want to get through it. But, I've had nightmares about it. I imagined what the baby might have looked like. And it wasn't a pleasant experience. And I immediately took birth control after that so I don't go through that experience. But those women in the clinic, they were just like, yeah, this is my third abortion this year already. And we're like halfway into the year. And just using that as a contraceptive boggles my mind because of what you're actually doing. You're partaking in such evil. Forget religion, but you're partaking in such evil. You're killing. That's what you're doing. You're killing. You have a 14-year-old dog you need to euthanize, and like you can't do it, right? Because you feel so bad. But why? Just because you don't know who this entity is growing inside you, it makes it okay to abort. It was the worst feeling. I never wanted to experience that, and I wasn't even getting pregnant after that, obviously because of the birth control. But when I stopped taking the birth control, we tried to get pregnant, and it just wasn't working. And I was like, all right, whatever, because I feel like I had to redeem what I had done. I had to redeem what I had done. And then when we said, okay, fine, we're not going to be able to. And by the way, I was an atheist when I got the abortion. I think it's important because once you understand what God wants out of you, you're less likely to go through those kind of procedures again. And then you're going to have a baby at 40 or older or whenever. And if it happens again, I'll welcome it, even though it might be dangerous. But still, whatever. If that's what God wants, If I got pregnant, that means I have to bring the baby into this world. And thank God I'm in a loving relationship. And we're not talking about the 1% of women who get raped, but this is not that conversation. Or if they need a medical abortion. Otherwise, I don't think it should be used as contraceptive. I think all women who get pregnant should give that child a chance. Even if you're young, there needs to be some sort of arrangements made. Yeah, you might have to do different things, but don't kill that child. You're 15 and you're having sex. Well, having sex means you're going to possibly get pregnant, and it's not fair to the conception of that child for you, to be so irresponsible or say, I'm a child, I didn't know any better. I feel like we can't keep using those excuses. You're not a child anymore. People know so much these days, and yet they still want to oh, I'm a child, I didn't know. I can't live my life like this. But meanwhile, you're not a child when you're going and complaining to your counselor and getting pulled out of the house, that you're considered an adult at that point. when you go complain to your counselor, they come remove you from your home because you're living in a safe home. Well, you're not a child then, but you're a child when you're 16 years old and you don't want to have a baby. That's when you're a child. No, I think everyone should be taught, okay, if we're going to be talking about things that are inappropriate, such as sex positions in school, for example, they're passing out books, corn books in school. Corn, I said corn. and they think kids are, aware enough to understand these fathers who are parents and mothers who are, parents. But they think the kids can understand that. They think the kids can handle that. But they don't think that the kids can handle learning about abortion, learning about safety. I mean, that was taught to us in 7th grade, wasn't it? But if you're going to teach them things, teach them real life things, scary things. Like, hey, if you have sex, you're going to get pregnant and you might have to get an abortion in your mind's eye. You wouldn't want to kill a baby, would you? Practice abstinence. I don't know. Why is that like such a weird thing now, like to practice abstinence? It goes beyond people's minds. Like, oh, don't have sex. Just don't have sex. Honestly, you're 15 years old. Go play sports. Go do this. Go do that. You wanna go look at the 9-year-olds in Afghanistan getting sold to 50-year-old men and being forced into these sexual relationships and having kids with these people. Go enjoy your childhood. Even at 15, even at 16. I was playing with Barbies at 16 still with my little cousins. And I feel like that's what we need to do as parents is judge the situation thoroughly, okay? Which means take a good look at where your children are going to school, what they're doing. I mean, I'm guilty too. My kids get online on YouTube. And sometimes, you can't control everything that they watch. And yeah, they're going to come across real crappy stuff. And all you could do is just block them from going on YouTube. But, for so long you can block until they obtain this information elsewhere. So as a parent, it's better to judge yourself and say, hey, I'm going to probably sit down and watch some of these things with my kids and explain to them what they're seeing versus them watching it alone and interpreting it by themselves. I'm not talking about corn. I'm talking about obscene stuff or things that they're going to come across no matter what, because they live in a country with other kids who are exposed to these things, who don't get monitored. And so, being aware that, okay, you can only block them from certain things for so long, but you can't block them from having conversations with people. You can't block them from, and by people, I mean their peers. And so it's better as a parent to then go into it knowing that you have to explain this in a certain way where your child, when they come across it, can understand it better as a parent. Okay. And sometimes parents don't do that. I get it. And that's why the schools feel compelled to teach your kids the things that they want your children to learn. So pull your kids out of schools so you don't have to deal with that, because you're probably not going to want to teach your kids about transgenderism. All right. Even though they're going to come, my kids know about it. I didn't even talk about it with them in front of them, but they know about it because their friends talk about it, because they see TikTok videos, because they see this and that. So they're going to learn about this regardless because it's so widespread. But what are you teaching them after they are exposed to it? What do they know? Are they being, because I don't want my kids to be intolerant just because we don't accept it. I don't want my kids to be unkind because we don't accept it. We're not tolerant of it, but we're not unkind about it either. We just don't want it shoved down our throats all day. So that's why we have to sit here, do podcasts, talk about the CEO Act, the Children's Educational Opportunity Act, do our own schools, create our own schools, which are micro schools. We have to do all these things so that way our kids are not exposed to things that we don't want them to be exposed to. And when I say we have to, I'm saying I'm doing it and all of you have to. I know you're going to hate me every time I bring this up, but you have to. This is the only way that you're going to fight the system. Pulling your kids out and creating micro schools. And keep your eyes open for the CEO Act, Children's Educational Opportunity Act. This is going to help us fund our dreams of owning our own micro schools. Not even owning. We don't own. It's not about owning. It's about creating. All right. Because I don't have a micro school. We have a micro school. Community does. So I want to encourage everyone to keep your ears peeled for the CEO Act coming up. We want to get it on the ballot in November 2026. Okay. It's a year and a half from now. But we need all the publicity we can get. We need 1 million signatures, 1 million of them. My show's live. My intention is for it to be no more than 30 minutes and for me to just drop some ideas, some thoughts, get you nodding your head like Christian. You inspire me, Christian, to keep it moving, all right? When you agree with what I'm saying. And for you to question your own reality. Like, what are you doing? So now I got to go feed that baby who's been screaming at my friend for the past 30 minutes because my reality is being questioned. Am I a good mom? No, I'm a bad mom. All right. Follow Red Angeles Network on YouTube and on Instagram. They're the lovely studio that's hosting us. I love them so much. They've made my dreams come true about being in the studio. So my intention is to help them grow and help me grow while I help them grow. So it's reciprocity, right? And you learn from these things, I'm sure. And once I start having guests on, which will be the most fun episodes with the guests, I want you guys to be able to call in. And if you want to be a guest, I'm open for it, you guys. I'm open for it. So suggest guests. Come on as a guest. Send me messages, questions, topics you want me to discuss. And let's get this party going. Like, this is episode 2 of Good Talks with Bad Moms at the Red Angeles Network. And I'm signing off. Next week. See you next week.
Let it drop.